Now I want to introduce you to the concept of bounce rate in Google and how that's going to help your ranking and sales. A bounce rate is if I search for something, for example, then I click on any page. For example, this is a search about one of my books and I'm going to find my website and click on it. If I click on it as a user and if I don't like what I see and I click the back button, Google considers that very bad and negative behavior. If this happens once or a few times, that's okay. But if that happens a lot or a large percentage of the time, they're going to consider that like a bad result for that page, and they're going to rank that page lower. On the other hand, if that page satisfies the user and the user never does that search again, never comes back, never looks at any of the other results, that means in Google's eyes that the user was satisfied, which means it's a good result, which means that they're going to rank this page higher. And also behavior on this page is important. If a user clicks on this page and then browses around and clicks on other pages on my site and stays on my site for a while, that's a fantastic signal to Google that my site is engaging and Google will rank me higher. On the other hand, if the user just closes the browser or just does anything else, gets distracted, that's a negative behavior. There's also some cases where it's impossible to tell. For example, in this page, the goal of this page is actually for a person to click on this link that will take them to Amazon, which means that in Google's eyes, Google sees that the user only really looked at one page. But for me, it's actually ideal behavior. So sometimes there are gray areas, and that's okay. So different pages have different goals. For example, if you have a content site like a blog, your goal is to have people read a lot of pages. If you have sales pages, for example, your goal is for the user to stay on that sales page and only do what that sales page requires, meaning go down the sales funnel and buy. So in your case, what you should do is make sure that whatever the searches that you're trying to rank for are in fact satisfied on the first page that people come for. That's the most important thing you can do for your ranking when it comes to the bounce rate. Now, the second thing you can do is look at your Google Analytics. In a different part of the course, I show you how to set up your Google Analytics. In this video, we're going to look at this bounce rate. And bounce rate is something you should look at per page. Different pages will have different bounce rates. Your goal is to decrease the bounce rates. So you can look at the behavior tab. And even though it has that tab here, we can look at your site content and let's say all pages or landing pages. And we can then take a look at, like, for example, every page will have a column bounce rate. And you'll see some have like 90%. Not so good. Some have 72% or 60%. Well, the 60%, you see, that's the home page. And then the other 60%, that's a sales page. So people are doing something on it. They're browsing around. And then the other like 90 or high 80s, those are content pages. So that would tell me maybe my content pages are a little bit underperforming. So for me, that would be a clue and a sign. Go in there, make it more readable, make it more interesting, improve the headline, make sure it really is nice to read, make sure it links to other pages on my site so people can browse around and stay on the site longer. So you always want to decrease this column bounce rate and increase this average session duration. And this part of Google Analytics, that's your key and clue for where to focus on next. If you have an important page on your site, then you want to look at these metrics here and see how well you're performing. If your numbers are not very good, that means you need to come back to those pages and improve them. And that will have an impact not only on your SEO ranking, but also on your sales, because when people get more engaged with your page, they'll buy more. So this has multiple benefits.